Welcome to this third part of the morphology, and we begin by one of the most known processes out of which we produce new words. This process is compounding. Of course, in compounding we have got cases of words that are produced out of the combination of two or more words. Here we have got different combinations. We can have combination of adjective and adjective. For example, bittersweet. Adjective and noun, poor house. Adjective and verb, whitewash. Or noun, adjective, headstrong. Noun, noun, homework. Noun, verb, spoon feed. So we have got different combinations, okay? we have got here, we have got the first part and we have got the second part here. So we have got different possibilities. We can combine adjective with adjective, adjective with noun, adjective with verb, or nouns with adjectives, nouns with nouns, nouns with verbs, and here verbs with adjectives, verbs with nouns, verbs with verbs. For example, here sleepwalk, we have got two verbs here, verb and verb here. So the general remark that we can have about compounding, it's the combination of two or more words being mixed together to form one lexical item, one word. Now let's talk about some characteristics of compounds. When the two words are in the same grammatical category, the compound will also be in this category. For example, if we have got a noun plus noun, the whole compound is considered as a noun. Girl, friend. Girl is a noun, friend is a noun, so the whole compound word is a noun. Adjective, adjective, it gives us an adjective. Icy, cold. In English, the rightmost word in a compound is the head of the compound. So this one, for example, friend is the head of the compound girlfriend. Cold is the head of icy cold. Now the head determines the broad meaning and grammatical category of the compound word. When the two words fall into different categories, the class of the second or final word determines the grammatical category of the compound. For example, here, noun plus adjective. The whole compound is considered as an adjective. For example, headstrong. Now, verb plus noun, the whole compound takes the category of the last item. It's a noun. For example, pickpocket here. Compounds formed with preposition are in the category of the non-prepositional part of the compound. Overtake. So here we have got the preposition over. The compound can never be a preposition here, because we have to take the head, take, which is the verb. So the compound here is a verb. Sundown. Look, down here is the rightmost here, but it's not the head, because the compound here cannot be considered as a preposition. It takes the category of the first item here, which is the noun, sundown. So which means that the preposition is not taken into account. It cannot affect the grammatical class of the compound as a whole. In principle, there is no limit to the parameters of a compound. Look, 3 time loser. We have got 3 elements belonging to this compound. 4-dimensional space-time. We have got 4 items here, forming one compound. Sergeant at arms, 3 words here. So in principle, there is no, if you like, no limit to the members of a compound. Now, spelling does not tell us what sequence of words constitutes a compound, because compounds can be written in different ways. A compound can be written as one unified whole. There is no space, no hyphen between the two words here. blackbird. Now here, six pack. Here we have got hyphen. Here we have got no hyphen, and it's not attached. I mean, they are not attached to each other, but there is just space. So a compound can be written in different ways, which means that the spelling here cannot help us identify compounds. Now, like derived words, compounds have internal structure. Consider the ambiguity of top, hat, rack. This is a compound, word here. This one can be interpreted in two different ways, which means it has got two different meanings. This is meaning number one, which means a rack for top hats. So here we have got a noun, which is composed of two things here, adjective and noun, top hat, rack. So which means these two things qualify, define rack. Okay, now the second meaning here, it's the highest hat rack. So here top alone, which means the highest, hat rack is one unit here. So which means that we have got questions of or issues of ambiguity even in the structure of compounds. Now, meaning of the compounds. The meaning of the compound is not always the sum of the meanings of its parts. Look, blackboard here. It's not necessarily a board which is black. It may be white. It may be green. So blackboard here does not mean that the board is black. Red coat, once again, it's not a coat which is red, because it refers to the English soldiers. Boathouse, same thing here. So look, we can say that it's a boat used as a house. But what about cat house? Is it a cat? Used as a house? Of course not here. Cat house is a cat that lives in houses here. So look, the relationship, the semantic relationship between the two parts of the compound is not the same. Although we have got the same structure, for example, boat house, cat house, but the relationship between boat and house does not exist between cat and house here. Look, jumping bean, we can talk about the bean jumping. A falling star, it's a star that falls. Magnifying glass, it's a glass that magnifies. But what about looking glass? Does it mean that it's a glass that looks? Of course not. Eating apple, does it mean that that apple that eats? Of course not here. So look, the semantic relationship between the members of the compound is not always the same, although compounds may have the same structure. Okay, now peanut oil, olive oil. So it's oil obtained from olive, it's oil obtained from peanut here. But what about baby oil? Is it oil obtained from babies? Of course not. It's oil which is useful for babies here. So once again, that semantic relationship that exists between oil and olive, oil and peanut, does not hold here, between oil and baby. Now we can even talk about this kind of contradiction, which shows this, let's say, difference in meaning of the compounds having the same structure. Look, horse meat, dog meat. Here we can say it's the meat obtained from horses. But what about dog meat? Is it meat obtained from dogs? So we can say here dog meat is horse meat, which means what dogs eat as meat is the meat we obtain from horse here. Okay, so horse meat is dog meat. This is a seeming contradiction, but of course here this is what dogs eat as meat. Here it's the meat we obtain from horses. Sorry. Now, this leads us to the question of opaque compounds. This means that many compounds do not seem to relate to the meanings of the individual parts at all. Which means here, for example, Jack in a box, the meaning of this compound has nothing to do with box, with Jack, or this preposition and this indefinite article. It means something completely different. It's a tropical tree. So this compound here, Jack in a box, is opaque, which means we cannot detect, we cannot predict the meaning of it by just looking at its parts. So it's not transparent, it's opaque. Look, turncoat. Turncoat here, it does not mean that it's somebody who turns the coat, or there is the idea of literally turning the coat, but it means a traitor here. Greenhouse, it's not a house which is painted green, it's a kind of structure where we plant vegetables. Greenhouse. Flat foot, there is no connection between flat and foot and the meaning, which is detective or policeman here. So these are cases of opaque compounds. Now the opposite case of opaque compounds is what we call transparent compounds, where you can guess the meaning of the compound by just looking at the meaning of its parts. So transparent is different from opaque here. So these are cases of opaque compounds here. Now let's talk about the pronunciation of compounds. This is different from normal phrases. Look here, red coat. As a compound word, we tend to stress the first element, red coat. But as a phrase, a red coat, so this one is serving as the head. This is what is being qualified, what is modified by the adjective here. So the adjective just follows here. So this one is what we stress most. We say red coat, but here a red coat here. So there is a difference in pronunciation between compounds and their corresponding phrases. Now this is a second, if you like, process of word formation, which is blending, that we're going to consider in the other part that I'm going to record for you.